Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on the program as we explore the updates beyond 100 days of this administration. Let's begin with breaking news. Well, we're hearing now that the president has nominated and approved the nomination of Dr. Olayemi Michael Cardoso to serve as the new governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria for a term of 5 years at the first instance, pending his confirmation by the Nigerian Senate. And this directive is in conformity of Section 8, subsection 1 of the Central Bank of Nigeria Act of 2007, which vests in Mr. President the authority to appoint the governor and 4 deputy governors of the CBN, subject to confirmation by the Senate. Recall that weeks ago, the former CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele, was suspended and is currently answering some questions with the DSS. Now, let's turn our attention back to Lagos, where the university management of the University of Lagos seem to have agreed to a downward review of school and hostel fees. The decision is coming after a meeting between the management and leadership of the National Association of Nigerian Students and the university faculty president. The student leaders requested a reversal of the hike in school fees as well as accommodation charges and the reinstatement of the student union in the university. While it agreed to an immediate reduction in fees to end the face-off between the management and students of the university, the school authorities promised to begin work where the return of students' union is concerned. I'm joined now by spokesperson, Student Solidarity Group Against Fee Hike, Femi Adeyeye, who joins us live on the program. Femi Adeyeye, thank you for joining us on Beyond 100 Days. What played out at the meeting last night, particularly the specifics of the downward review?
All right. Thank you very much for having me. Let me state categorically that the student solidarity group against fee hike was not part of the meeting. And our reasons were very clear. When we met with the management on the 2nd of August 2023, we make some recommendations. The first one is that the fee should be reverted immediately, because that decision was not a democratic decision. It is not logical, and it is economically inconsiderate. And adding to that was that we asked that the joint committee that would have all stakeholders on campus should be put together to then look at every aspect of the financing of the university, to look at the new fee and to also suggest come up with a report at the end of its findings, if anything would come up. So what happened yesterday was a meeting between leadership and faculty president. And until this minute, these persons have not reported back to the students they claim they represent. In a democratic setting, what is expected is that when student leaders meet like that, they would revert, or make recourse to the students. And these students then in the Democratic Congress will then determine what happens to the fee.
So Femi, let me butt in quickly. Are you saying that as at now, students do not have an idea of the outcome of that meeting and the percentage of reduction specifically that we're talking about?
No, they do, because at least there's an official announcement from the university. And several of these student leaders have also posted it on their WhatsApp status. But what we are saying is that that is not how it is done. That's not the ideal way of addressing issues like this. The student leaders are expected to report to the students, and the students in a Congress would either accept the downward review or continue with the struggle, which is actually towards the total reversal of the status quo, and not a reduction by 20,000 naira or 5,000 naira or 3,000 naira. But agreeing at a meeting, on the spot, is undemocratic, and it is not ideal for a 21st century, leader. And those are the issues that we're presently having with some of them. But we, as the Student Solidarity Group Against the have made it clear that in this struggle, we teach a lot of persons.
All right. So I'm going to ask you precisely how satisfied you are with the outcome, but let's hear from the Vice Chancellor herself as regards the position of the school management on this.
For returning students, we've taken out about 20,000 from we've taken out 20,000 across board for all fees. So the returning students will be paying about 80, as against the 100,000 before, which is per annum. Those with lab will be paying 120 as against 140. And those in the medical field will be paying 170 as against 190. We also took a little bit out of the utilities. It will hurt us because our bills are high, but we also recognize the prevailing circumstances. And so this is a concession to the prevailing circumstances, because when we fixed all these bills, that was before subsidy removal. And since then, it's very clear that things are not getting better. So we also took a little bit out of the utility bills, which from 20 to 15. I think we took 3,000 from the convocation bills. For the incoming students, we took we took out 10,000 each, because really when we fixed these bills, it was based on data.
Vice Chancellor of the University of Lagos there. So you heard us say 20,000, 10,000 for some students. I spoke with the Minister of Education earlier, who mentioned that there is need for both parties to meet at the middle, considering the current economic situation. Are you saying that the Student Solidarity Group isn't satisfied with this decision?
Yes, we as a group of students, and it is not just a group, it's a group that is also democratic, which is a group that is relating with students to get their opinions on issues. We disagree. And this is the point upon which we disagree. Number one, this economic reality we all keep mouth saying was not caused by the poor students and their poor parents. The government has, defunded, they've been doing it already, but presently what you're doing is now to commercialize totally and privatize these universities. And they are saying we are not funding you anymore, so go inwards and look for anything you can commercialize, anything you can increase and fund yourself. That is what they are saying. But what we are saying is that should not be the position of the government on public education in a country where you have 133 million people living in multidimensional poverty, where you have 50% youth unemployment rate, where you have 33% unemployment rate, where the minimum wage is 30,000. A country where you have the minimum wage at 30,000 does not have any business in hiking fees to 200,000. It is a crime against humanity. So those are our points of disagreement.
I hear you.
And so when the Vice Chancellor sits there and starts, canceling out 20,000,
I hear you, Femi Adeyeye. Probably we're going to
anything. It has not changed anything. And so there's no middle ground anybody is going to stand on this issue until fees, first of all, must be reverted. The financing that also comes to the university must be looked at. Despite the fact that the government is not funding, how much is even getting to the university and how much is being spent?
I hear you, Femi Adeyeye. I'm afraid that's our time. We possibly are going to follow up with this story and also find out what the alternatives are for the Student Solidarity Group, particularly now that the student leadership in schools seem to have agreed with the position of the university management. Spokesperson, Student Solidarity Group, Femi Adeyeye, thank you for talking to us. Now, the Chicago State University has released a statement confirming that President Bola Tinubu was a student of the university. The American University also confirmed that President Tinubu graduated in 1979 with a bachelor's degree. The school, however, explained that there is a federal law known as the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, which protects the privacy of student records and limits what an institution can make public. It went on to explain that in August 2023, a request was made to the U.S. Federal Court for the university to provide information related to educational records concerning Bola Tinubu, the president of Nigeria, and a former student of the school. There's also been controversy surrounding President Tinubu's academic record, with the People's Democratic Party presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar filing a lawsuit in the U.S. to compel the Chicago State University officials to turn over President Tinubu's academic documents. I'm joined now by the chairperson, APC Committee of Diaspora, Tunde Dohati, who joins us live from London. I'm also joined by legal practitioner Jide Ologun, who joined us live from Nigeria. Let me begin with you, Mr. Ologun. What does this mean for the U.S. case that the PDP candidate has taken to court?
Like expressed already, the US has made a statement. The university has confirmed that Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu attended the school. And then they have also stated that they are subject to some laws in America concerning the information that can be further released. And we have a precedent here. I recall that in 2019, towards the election, there was an issue against Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, the allegation that he was involved in a bribery scandal with the former US Congressman William Jefferson. And Jefferson was eventually jailed in the US, and that Atiku could not show up in the US. Otherwise, he'd be arrested and prosecuted. But he traveled to the US and then came back to Nigeria. I recall that at that point in time, the opposition was asking that the US government should not issue him a visa so that an impression would not be created that one candidate is superior to the other. So I'm of the personal perception that these are political issues. And having said that, if you look at Section 131 of the Evidence Act of Nigeria, what it states is that whoever desires any court to give judgment as to any legal right or liability dependent on the existence of facts which the person asserts must prove that those facts exist. And we say that that person is bound by the burden of proof. So these are allegations right now. And speaking about the recently concluded exercise at the tribunal, the court was not persuaded about that allegation.
Indeed.
Because in Section 36 of our Constitution, it says every person who is charged with a criminal offense shall be presumed to be innocent until he is proved guilty. So as we air right now, these are allegations.
All right. Let me bring Mr. Doherty into this conversation. Prior to the 2023 general election and even afterwards, the credibility of your party's candidate and that of the election which he won has been constantly questioned by the opposition. We've had some fundamental judgments now. The lawyer made reference to the Presidential Election Petition Court, and now we are hearing from the Chicago State University itself. Do you think that this is enough to return that measure of credibility back to the person of your party's candidate, who is now our president, as well as the credibility of the election?
Thank you very much, Nifemi, for having me. You see, opposition in its definitive term is against all you stand or you stood for, things that are irrelevant, things that are immorally not visible to bring you down. So whatever they have been doing concerning the certification or attendance of our president, Ashwaji Bola Tinubu, to Chicago University, should have been laid to rest long time ago. You see, it's just who believe that they could tarnish the image of somebody who has taken the ship of Nigeria and clinically diagnosing all the problems that Nigeria is having now, going to build bridges across nations to bring Nigeria back to to make Nigeria gain back its strength. You see, I don't know what else these people are looking for. The university has made that confirmation in her ramification, even to the extent of even providing the president's transcript in this latest version. And definitely the university has said that they are limited by law, as my barrister has alluded to, and there are loads of opportunities that has defined, that has cleared this irrelevance being peddled by the opposition. And if you look at it, for goodness sake, as a civil individual, how can somebody who had worked with companies like Ato Anderson, Ato Young, Ernest and Wimmy, Pete Mawick, Michel Delucci, IBM, you know the recruitment process for all this organization. Actually, Atiku Tinubu had worked in all these institutions before coming back to before coming to work with Mobile. And you think those organizations are not meticulous when it comes to employing an individual into their organization? You see, all of this running helter-skelter to look for what is not is to me a kind of distraction to just give
I hear you, Mr. Doherty, and
things.
I do not expect you to say anything different from that because it's your party we're talking about and also your candidate. But let's talk about
That's the reality. That's the truth.
I hear you.
That's the truth.
I was just going to follow it up quickly as to, the power of perception. Do you think all of these things you've read out do have any impact on the perception that majority of the people have about the man and the credibility of the election?
You see, if they don't have that perception, definitely you can see from the action of the man that he has been excellent in everything he's put his hand on. Look at him in Lagos State. Look at what he's doing in the last 100 days. Yes, we all agree that there are problems in Nigeria. We all agree this problem has been perennial. They've been there for a long time. But this man is looking for solution and is going etascata to get solution. Look at what he has just done with the Emirates in UAE. Look at the problem Nigerians are having left, right, and center here and there. He has been able to bring bridges in terms of bringing economy into Nigeria. You are talking about his education. You are talking about his certificate. Can somebody who is not well educated or well learned even have the opportunity to come on and reel out projects and programs that
I get you, Mr. Doherty. I'm afraid that's our time. Let me just get a final thought from Mr. Ologun. Do you think that, because you talked about being able to prove beyond reasonable doubt in court, that's the language of the law, and that's what lawyers understand. But do you think that all of these developments will be enough for the president to win that perception gain and also change the minds or the mindset of some people about him? What do you think he must begin to do differently as well?
Perception means the ability to see, to hear, or become aware of something through the senses. And you cannot force perception on human beings. Human beings come up with their perceptions, and I can let you know that some are of the mindset that cannot be changed concerning their perception of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, while some may decide to say, okay, let me change my perception because perception is variable. But I think my counsel right now is all about the human nature. You can never get 100% supportive perception, but your results can position you on the right perception. So it's an opportunity for the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, like Mr. Doherty said, to try and reposition Nigeria. And if he moves Nigeria on the path of prosperity, restoring the globe, the nation, the perception will also be formed. Let me say this clearly. It matters little who won that election. If it were to be Peter Obi, for instance, there were allegations that Peter Obi had some economic infractions in the UK. Could they establish it? I made reference to that of Atiku.
All right.
So that is, there will be dirty things to throw around. But what lies ahead is greater than what lies behind. So the ball is in the court of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. If in 2 years' time, for instance, we have constant electricity in Nigeria, we have our economy revived, we have the refineries functioning,
I hear you.
if not, and we have direct investments attracted into the nation, then we move on. I can let you know, you can hardly find a politician that will scale through on a scale of 100% when it comes to politics.
That's our time, Mr. Ologun. We're going to return to this conversation possibly next week. Gentlemen, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. Dido Ologun is legal practitioner. Tunde Doherty is chairman APC Committee of Diaspora. Thank you so much for talking to us.